We don't use it. We don't need it. We have a lot of oil. Well, wait a minute.
Oh,
And they use it, we don't. And you would have thought they would have said, we would love to help you. But they didn't, which I think was a very... And Germany, I mean, he's doing a terrible job. He's got immigration problems. He's got energy problems. He's got problems of all kinds.
Complete nutrition, complete love.
Nuclear weapon, which most people agree, almost everybody. It should have been done a long time ago. But if you agree they can't have a nuclear weapon, then what I did has been executed perfectly because our military has decimated them. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mr. President, two questions for you. Leah Shirazi from the Daily Mail. You have called this the new regime before in Iran, but I speak to Iranians on a daily basis, and they tell me that these are the same people that have murdered them, executed them, repressed them. I talked to them through the blackout, and they wanted me to ask you this question. And second of all, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, how come he's not involved in these conversations?
Oh, he's very much involved. Marco is he's negotiating with them all the time. Now look, Iran killed 42,000 people over the last 2 months, protesters. They were going to kill 8 women whose lives I saved, and I appreciate that they didn't do it. I asked them not to do it. They didn't do it. They were getting ready to hang the women. They were going to hang 8 beautiful women that were, I mean, it just caught the imagination of a lot of people. People were talking about it. You know, it was inconceivable. You saw those 8 beautiful people, and they were going to be executed that evening. This was a week ago. And I got on the phone very quickly, and I said, don't do it, don't do it. The whole world is watching, don't do it. And they didn't do it. I appreciate it. I guess 4 were released, and the other 4 are going to be released in a month. They were ready to be executed that night. So they take a tough, you know, they knocked out the wrestler they killed. They killed the wrestler's teammates. He was a world champion wrestler, too. He was a great wrestler, great, talented wrestler. They killed him because he protested, he spoke. He wasn't wrestling. What he did is he spoke negatively about the regime, and they killed him. They executed him, along with his friends. They killed 42,000 people. So when you say about, they say that I do the same, I don't do the same. I'm trying to save that country in a certain way, and nobody's ever seen it. Think of it. They killed 42,000 innocent, not weapon-carrying people for protesting. 42,000. And the number they say is a lot higher than that. There's a rough group, but we have decimated them. And their economy is a disaster. So we'll see how long they hold out. We'll see.
Mr. President, President Trump, Saudi Arabia is pulling the plug on Live Golf. Once that tour is gone, do you think the PGA Tour should welcome the defectors back with open arms?
Well, I do. It's a great question. In fact, if I had time, I'd love to watch television today because the PGA Tour is playing at Doral, the Cadillac Championship. And I said, who's winning? I don't get a chance. I can't even look at it.
Jordan Spieth was in the lead earlier.
Who is?
Jordan Spieth.
Oh, that's good. He's good. Great guy. Good putter, to put it mildly, right? He's a very great guy. Chipper putter. No, it's they're at my tournament right now, the PGA. In 2 weeks, Liv is going to be at my course right here in the Potomac. No, I'd love to see Liv, but I do believe that all of the golfers should be playing, the great golfers should be playing against each other. I do believe, you know, it's sort of, they were viewing something as a monopoly, but it's in a way, it should be the opposite of a monopoly. I want to see Rory playing Bryson DeChambeau. I want to see Big John Rahm playing Scotty, who's so great, right? Scotty Scheffler is great. And I want to see him play John Rahm and Bryson and all the different guys. They have great players on the Live. But it's almost like people want to see that. That's why the Masters was so good, because you saw everybody together. Patrick Reed played great. You know, he's on live and he played great. And they all did. They all played. They're great players. I play with them. They're very good. When I think I'm a good player and then I play with them, I don't think I'm that good. You know? But there's something nice about all of the players playing together. Now, they'll all be accepted by the tour. There's no point. Because they're great. If they weren't, you know, the tour really will. The tour wants to have the best player. You can't have the best player that they're boycotting. Now, they may do something, you know, a little bit, but they'll all be back on tour and it'll be great. And, you know, having one tour, now I don't know that what's happening with Liv. I'm not sure what's happening with Liv. But they are playing in my course 2 weeks on the Potomac, beautiful course. But right now they're playing at Doral, which I own. And if we end this early, I'll be able to watch for about 3 minutes before I get back onto the economy and every other subject that we have, including Iran. We're doing so well with Iran, so I think so.
I just want to
Yeah, please, yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Jennifer Schonberger with Yahoo Finance. Question on clarification of the Trump IRAs versus a regular IRA.
Right.
Does it come down to the difference of a federal match? Who would qualify for that? And secondly, do you have any reaction to Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell staying on the Board of Governors? Were you prepared to take any action on that?
No, I don't care. If he stays on, he stays on. That doesn't. I just wanted to make sure that Kevin became the head. It's very unusual that they stay on. You know, I predicted he would, because you know who's going to hire him, frankly. So I predicted he would stay on, but you know he's a negative. I think he's a negative force. The thing that angered me about him more than interest rates was the fact that he could allow a building to cost billions of dollars more than it was. I could have built that building. I could have renovated and fixed that building, which is what I do. I always did well with it, for $25 million. They're going to spend maybe $4 billion. It's not even close to being opened. You know, Kevin, who's going to be fantastic, I don't know if he's going to have an office. I'm going to have to put him right here. I'm going to give him that. We'll cut the oval in half. I'll give him half of the oval. No, it's, I think, I'm very happy about Kevin. I think he's a star. And the other Kevin, we're going to talk to you. Could you answer her question?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question, and the match is a super important part of it, and it's one reason why we're calling on our friends here to potentially expand it so that right now the match is capped at $35,000, but there's a whole academic literature that this match has a big effect on people's willingness to save and their long-run welfare. And so the differences really are the match. We're creating the TrumpIRA.gov website, so it'll be really, really easy for people to have access to private companies that have to follow the TSP rules that are really low cost and so on, so that they'll get the best possible investment. And finally, you've noticed that Michael Dell has given money, promised money for the Trump accounts. We've also made it clear that the Trump IRA charities can contribute to other people's accounts.
And I imagine this will boost the stock market and economy further.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to mention phase 2? We're doing phase 1 today because I can do that without Congress. But phase 2 is going to be something that would be unbelievable. Do you want to just give a little summation? We'll be going back to Congress to ask for this.
Right, so the basic headline is that if you look at the huge success of Australia in their retirement savings accounts, that we're working with the Treasury Secretary, he and I, and Jason Smith and other members of Congress to come up with something that's pretty close or in the direction of the Australian system.
Or better.
Or better.
No, they had a couple of little glitches that we'll get rid of.
But there's absolutely no contemplation of harming Social Security in any way. This is meant to be an add-on to that.
It'll be very exciting. It's going to be great. We'll be pretty quick, pretty fast. We're going to move pretty fast.
Can I follow up?
Something that we talked about. Something that we talked about a couple weeks ago. There's all these missing scientists who had access to.
क्या करो?
सेट करो खास चाय बना के तुम्हारा मूड।
समझते हैं एक दूसरे को, इसीलिए बने हैं एक दूसरे के लिए। जैसे चाय को समझे सिर्फ नेस्ले एवरीडे।
From Nestle.
Well, we have a lot of scientists. I was asking that question. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of scientists. So, no, some of them that we looked at are very sad cases in some cases. Some were sick. Some left this earth self-inflicted. Some had other things. So far, there's not a major, sometimes there's a little bit of a connection anyway, and you say, oh, this is a terrible thing. But so far, we're finding that there's not much of a connection. We'll let you know. We're going to be doing a full report on it. It's very serious stuff.
Mr. President, follow up on my question earlier. Have you been informed if the Secret Service agent who was shot on Saturday, if that was from friendly fire or if it was from the suspect?
Well, they say it was not friendly fire.
So you're hearing that it's from?
Well, that's what I heard. I heard that. They said it wasn't friendly fire.
Okay,
It was actually reported. You read the reports because it was actually reported.
Yes, sir. I read through the DOJ memo.
Yeah, but well, then why do you ask me the question?
I don't believe it said that the agent was struck by.
I'm just saying they said it wasn't friendly fire.
And he
meaning
hasn't been charged
It wasn't
yet.
us.
Okay, and he hasn't been charged yet with that. Of course, that could come. I want to follow up on the security changes. Is there talks about you potentially wearing a bulletproof vest moving forward, given you have now been shot at?
I don't
so
know if I
many
can
times?
handle looking 20 pounds heavier. These guys, they look so. Some of these guys are physical specimens. Some of these guys have traveled. Get him away from me. I don't want to be near him. No, if you want to gain 20 to 25 pounds, get a vest. And Liv, frankly, the vest did an amazing job because it took a bullet close up. And he didn't even want to go to the hospital. I mean, we sent him to the hospital just in case, but he didn't want, still a hit. But he didn't want to go to the hospital. The vest totally protected him. Still a lot of power behind that shot, though. That's like getting hit by Mike Tyson. But it's amazing. I've been asked about that, and I guess it's something you consider. In one way, you don't like to do it because you're giving into a bad element, and so I don't know. But I have been asked about it.
How nervous are you about it happening again? Another assassination attempt?
I don't think about it.
You don't think about it at
And
all?
if I did, I wouldn't be doing a very good job here. I'd be thinking about nothing but that. I don't think about it. I don't think about it. If I did, I wouldn't be effective. Okay.
Mr. President,
Right.
real quickly, you pushed on True Social, calling on Senate Republicans to blow up the filibuster.
They
It is
should.
a big issue with MAGA. MAGA wants you to get rid of it.
They should
Why
do
don't
it.
you do it?
Why don't they do it?
I don't know.
I have no idea. You know why, I guess? Because they have 3 or 4 that are like hard line. The same ones that are hard line, no to everything. And if you don't have all of them, we have a very small majority. John Thune's a good man. I said to him, John, just go take the vote. Let's expose who the people are. But, if we got rid of the filibuster, we could vote on the Save America Act, voter ID. You act so good. I love this. He's a great guy. Even though I don't love his girlfriend too much, okay? I won't tell you who the girlfriend is. But I like him, and I've always liked him. It's great that he hasn't changed. But Brian, I think here's the problem. It's not even imaginable to me why. And people are angry about it. I'm talking about Republicans are angry about it. The filibuster should be terminated. If the Democrats ever get a shot, which probably, based on history, sometime they will use it in the first minute of the first hour, and they will execute all of the bad things. 21 justices, they really like 21. I heard 13, but they really want 21 Supreme Court justices. And they really want to have D.C. and Puerto Rico become states. That would mean automatic 4 senators go into the Democrat column. And there's not even a chance that they don't do it and do it immediately. Now, with that knowledge, because you could argue whether it's good or bad, but I don't think it's that much of an argument, frankly. But you could argue, with that knowledge that they're going to do it immediately, why wouldn't you do it as a Republican? Unless you have bad motives almost. But if we did it, we could pass one bill after the other. We could pass laws and acts and things that we never even dreamt of passing. And you know what else? We wouldn't lose for 50 years. If we terminated the filibuster, we would have a 50-year run. You'd stop cheating. I mean, look, they're professional cheats. and they're great at it. That's what they're best at, because you can't get elected with their policy. You can't get elected with men and women's sports, with transgender mutilization of our children, with open borders for jails to be dropped into our country, and mental institutions, and drug dealers and murderers. Think of it, 11,888 murders come into our country. Nobody even talks to them about it, right? We got a lot of them out because of, you know why? Because of ICE, which they don't want to fund. They're defunding our police. When they defund ICE and with Border Patrol and Secret Service, they're defunding our police. The same thing as they're doing with an officer on the street corner. So why the Republicans Senate doesn't just sit in there and just do it and take a negative vote and do it again and again like the Democrats do. They go again and again. The war power. I'm negotiating a deal with Iran. And every week, every 3 days, they put in a thing that the war should stop. And people ask me, how the hell do you negotiate like that? You're destroying them. Every day I read, think of it, we militarily decapitated the country. And every day I read about how well they're doing militarily. They got nothing left. They're done. And yet I read in the New York Times, I see in that stupid CNN, which I only watch because you have to watch a little bit of the enemy. So I watch it for a very short period. But you have to be smart. And if you see CNN, you think they're winning the war. If you read the New York Times, it's actually seditious, in my opinion. You read the New York Times, you actually think they're winning the war. I read some of these columnists, but it's all starts from the top. It's a terrible thing. So we're negotiating with them, and they read how well they're doing, and they're sitting in a cave, and all their leaders are dead. Everyone's dead around them. Missiles are all over the place. They have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no nothing. We can fly right over the middle of Tehran without being shot at because they have no anti-aircraft. They have nothing. And they're reading that they're winning the war. They're trying to figure it out. They get the New York Times, I guess, in some form, and they think we're crazy. But, you know, I'm supposed to be negotiating, and they make you negotiate from weakness, not strength. But the difference is I don't care. And everybody knows the facts. We are decimating that country. I got a call today from another country that's more on our side than that Middle Eastern country, saying, sir, please don't hit them anymore. They're decimated. Please. He's actually helping them. He's actually saying, please. And yet the New York Times will tell you that they're winning the war. It's so sad. I hate to even say that because when I say that, people out watching, they'll say, oh, maybe they are winning the war just by the fact that I'm saying it. And it's so ridiculous. They're being decimated. We have the greatest military in the world. And one thing that's come out of this and Venezuela, some of the things that have happened, I rebuilt the military in my first term and did a good job.
सिर्फ मामा और नीडो जानते हैं कि बच्चों के लिए क्या जरूरी है। राइट न्यूट्रिशन फॉर द राइट एज। इसीलिए तो मामा's चॉइस है नीडो, बच्चों का न्यूट्रिशन एक्सपर्ट।
It does. We have a military like no other. You know, when we attacked Venezuela, their equipment, none of it worked. It was all good equipment, but it was discombobulated. You know what that means? They pressed the buttons and nothing happened. They said, what the hell's going on? They heard that weird buzzing sound from way up high. It's amazing how great our military is. And for us to read, it's like the B-2 bombers right there. Late at night, 8 months ago, they went into Iranian territory, and Iran was waiting for them. And they were firing at the wrong targets. They were firing at their planes, but they didn't see them. And with no moon, dark at night, they dropped each plane at 2 bombs, 14 bombs. Every one of those 14 bombs went right down an air chute. Think of it. They followed the beam right into the chute. And every single one of those bombs, very powerful, 200,000-pound bombs, every one of those bombs went right down an air chute. Late at night, think of it, late at night with no moon, you couldn't see a thing. They put those, and they went into territory. All of a sudden, I was watching. They got faster. Then they go like that because the bombs go faster when they head down. I wouldn't want to head down. I'd head up. I'd want to get the hell out of there. And they let the bombs go, and then the first one that let them go was a perfect hit. He said, skedaddle, and that plane turned over in its size, and it went back to a place called Missouri. If you don't mind, Jason.
God's country.
It went back. It wanted to say hello to a very powerful congressman, by the way, from Missouri, Jason. So every one of those bombs, and yet before they landed, CNN came out with a report that maybe the damage wasn't that great. The damage was far greater than we said. It was obliteration. When the Atomic Energy Commission went there 1 week later, they say Trump was right. It was obliteration. And they still haven't been. They've had possession of the site. They haven't been able to do anything with it. That stuff is buried. And the reason I took I was angry about it was because it's disrespectful to those pilots and those incredible people, including the people that maintain the planes. Those planes had to fly for 37 hours without stopping. They got the tankers. They had 3 tanker lifts, meaning they had to get refuel up in there. They never landed. They went all the way from Missouri to here and then back. Some went to Guam, which there are those that say that was a way of camouflaging the whole thing, because they followed the ones they thought the ones from Guam were not coming. They were going to take it easy at Guam. That didn't work out too well. But that was amazing. And the New York Times and CNN, they said, well, maybe the B-2 attack wasn't so good. Even to this day I hear it, because we want to get the nuclear dust. It's way down there. You need excavators and everything to get it. But we want to get it. We'll take it one way or the other. We'll get it. We'll either get it or we'll take it. They'll either give it to us or we'll take it. But I think it's very disrespectful to our incredible military when they say maybe they missed the target. Every single bomb hit the target. Then on top of that, we shot from submarines 30 unbelievable missiles that also hit the target on top of that. It was complete obliteration. And it was confirmed by Atomic Energy. But even the other day I saw on CNN, well, I don't know. They want the stuff, so therefore the bombs didn't hit. Yeah, we want the stuff. It's way buried. But we want to get it. We will get it. It won't even be hard. But they have to respect our military. They have to. If it were a miss, I tell you, we'd be fine. It would have done a lot of damage. But these bombs went down the air chutes. They'll never build air chutes again in the mountain. They built these air chutes to get a layer up there. They'll have to find a different way because it didn't work. But our military is amazing. There's never been anything like. We have the most powerful military on earth, and it's too bad we have to use it, but we're doing really well. So we'll see how that all works out. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
How do you like the new floor? So we had what I do best is build. That's what I do best. I say to people, am I a better builder or politician? And most of them say politician, but that's okay. What I do best is I build. The ballroom will be just like that. So I went out and I have a special black granite. Granite is the most powerful stone there is. Marble is much weaker than granite. I like marble more because marble can be more beautiful, but it's a much weaker stone. When you look at gravesites and you look at a marble plaque, 100 years old, you'll see oftentimes you can almost not read it. When you look at a granite plaque, 100 years old, it looks like it just got put there yesterday. That's a test. But we have the finest granite anyone's ever seen. It's called flawless granite. There's very little of it. And I replaced broken slate that was put here many years ago. I saved the ramp because it's in honor of FDR. FDR right up there, he had that built as a ramp. They said, oh, sir, we'll straighten it. I said, no, you have to leave the ramp. It was built. That ramp was built for FDR with a wheelchair because, it's pretty good slope. But a lot of people say, why is it a ramp? They say, because of FDR. They say, I get it. But we saved that. But we replaced the broken slate. And slate, by the way, is meant for a roof. It's not meant for a sidewalk. And we replaced it with granite, the highest grade granite. It's valued at, they value stones in terms of, That's valued at 1 million plus. That means 1 million plus years. A marble will oftentimes be valued at 200 years, 300 years. This is giving you a little lesson in stone. Somebody would say, he went off on a tangent. There's something wrong. Like I did with the pen. I gave you a little thing on the pen, that pen is better than the one that cost $2,000 that you're handing to everyone. See, this one, I can hand to these guys, that's worth $3, okay? So, anyway, but I always felt guilty, but they said, he went off on a tangent. I always say, if you don't find it interesting, leave during it. But the granite pen, in fact, if you can, let them leave through that door. It's just completed. We had it completed for King Charles. On time, on budget. I paid for it, so, you know, it's very expensive. I would tell you.
Does he love this?
He loved it. He loved it. And he's seen some nice
The Trump
stonework.
Renaissance. This is a Trump Renaissance
Well,
here in
we're
DC.
fixing the White House.
What
But
about-
it was sort of terrible. People would walk to the Oval Office over broken slate. Again, slate is used on roofs. It's not used where people walk on it, and it's been walked on for a long time, and there are many, many broken pieces. So I said to do it right. Now, the other thing I did, if you want to have a look, all of the columns, they had 200 years of paint on them, and they looked terrible, and, you know, they were chipped and broken, and when you have a lot of paint, and I stripped the columns back down to the original stone and painted them, and you'll see it. But you may want to, final touches, little touch up here with the paint. Get a little hit by a couple of these heavy stones. You know, they're very heavy, thick. It's thick granite. But that granite's valued at over 1 million years. So it was a lifetime. 1 million plus, that's your max. Why don't you walk out there and take a look, okay? I think you'll love it. And the company that did it, if you look at the setting, each point is perfect. So Peter, take a look. Tell your father if I did a good job. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Please keep moving. Thank you, press. 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 Please keep going. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
जब आए सर पे मुसीबतों का पहाड़ तो क्यों न पहले ही पहन लो इंश्योरेंस का हार। कहते हैं इंश्योरेंस के नाम पे
सिर्फ फ्रॉड है।
बेटा क्या बताएं, तुम्हारी सोच ही फ्लॉड है। एक बार ट्राई कीजिए तो पता चले पॉलिसी ऑप्शंस काफी ब्रॉड हैं। बाजी का मशवरा है, वही सबसे खरा है, भला की ये सलाह है।